also teach large courses, and I also try to match one TA per question so that one TA grades everybody's booklets to have some amount of consistency. But also what I've done for exams, not for assignments because that's too much, but maybe I should, but for exams is I actually have so I give a rubric to TAs, but I don't know about you, but I never can make a rubric that's actually really very good. And so I asked the TAs, can you grade maybe the first 30 booklets or so? And let me know when you've done that. And I'll go and check in the comments that you added. And usually I don't actually go over the 30 booklets they did, but I look at the comment library to see if anything seems weird or things that I hadn't expected or that I really think that was worth -1, or maybe that was a -2 or things like that. And I give them comments on that. And it feels pretty good. And I certainly in terms of like me getting the kind of grading that I'm hoping to get from them. But I think at least some of the TAs also really appreciate sort of having a window into my philosophy for grading, which I don't necessarily explain so much in a rubric. And right, getting feedback on the feedback that they're giving, I guess. And I think it probably helps them for the rest of the course too, just interacting with the students. Because also sometimes they might write comments which, like they took off the appropriate number of points or whatever, but maybe the tone is inappropriate or the tone is sort of blaming or not necessarily ridiculing, but sort of not constructive, And so sometimes I even just ask them to reword this in a way that's more like, oh, I see why you made this mistake, but notice how that doesn't work, or things like that.
I'll add to that. I think, Rosalie, that is one of the things that I noticed as well a lot. So yeah, I really appreciate that feedback. We used to, I used to actually grade 20 booklets for each exam before I would let the TAs grade for that exact reason. So I would go in, grade, and then instead of creating a rubric, my rubric would just be in there because somehow, I don't know if it's statistically significant, somehow 20 seemed enough to get me through enough of, weird questions that would come across. But yeah, I completely agree, especially like the tone of certain comments. And yeah, it's pretty important to sort of focus on that.